Hello, dear friends. Welcome to this episode of the podcast, brought to you by the Australia Buddha's Practice Incorporated. Today, we explore the topic of wrong views. In this land, sentient beings are lost in delusions, feelings, and impulses, chasing the illusory pleasures of the five desires, unaware that these are as unattainable as the moon's reflection in water. Let us uncover the roots of wrong views and discover how to awaken from this endless cycle of samsara. 1. The origin of sentient beings. In this turbulent environment, sentient beings are swayed by the winds of karmic habits and afflictions, chasing the fleeting joys of form, sound, smell, taste, and touch. What are sentient beings? They are beings who live by emotions, aroused by everything around them, craving gourmet food, luxurious homes, cars, and even feeling attachment or aversion toward people and events. Where do these emotions come from? They stem from inner dependency, yearning, and an insatiable need to possess. In Buddhism, this is called consciousness, formed through endless conditioning. Sentient beings firmly believe their delusions, feelings, and impulses are real, unaware that they are mere illusions. For these fleeting pleasures, they toil tirelessly, even spending hard-earned money to buy suffering, clinging to a meager existence, barely surviving. 2. The tragedy of a frenzied existence. Consider this vivid metaphor: flies buzzing frantically after scents, dogs sniffing the ground for scraps. This is a frenzied, base existence. In this land, many live in a state worse than flies or dogs. For short-term gains, they compromise their integrity, conforming to worldly ways. For survival, they endure humiliation, bearing burdens beyond their capacity, reluctantly fitting into society's rules to secure a place to exist. This way of living is what Buddhism calls clinging to a meager existence. These people gather together, forming a world of frenzy, endlessly chasing illusory desires, creating karma, reaping results, and losing them again in an endless cycle. But what lies at the root? It's their belief in their delusions, their surrender to feelings, and their reliance on impulses, without ever questioning their truth. 3. The dangers of wrong views. Everyone, sentient beings inherently possess the same Buddha nature as the Buddha, endowed with limitless wisdom and abilities. Yet, due to attachment to the five desires, beings are trapped in gain and loss, driven by greed and selfishness. These pleasures are like the moon in water or flowers in a mirror, seemingly attainable but ultimately unreal. Beings are born with the potential of emperors, carrying the jewel of enlightenment, yet they degrade themselves, becoming servants, drifting aimlessly. How tragic! More gravely, wrong views keep beings trapped in samsara, unaware of their plight. Where do wrong views come from? They arise from fixed knowing, repeatedly affirming and recognizing, solidified through endless conditioning into erroneous beliefs. In Buddhism, this is called consciousness, the root of delusion. Every delusion, every impulse, can lead to disaster, suffering, or even death. Wrong views are like glaring eyes, constantly leading us astray into an abyss from which recovery is nearly impossible. 4. How to break free. Since wrong views are so perilous, how do we break free? We must recognize the illusory nature of delusions, feelings, and impulses. These are not our true selves but products of ignorant conditioning. When a thought arises, don't follow it blindly. Pause and reflect. Where does this thought come from? Is it real? Is it worth pursuing? We must constantly observe our mind's movements. When greed arises, contemplate its impermanence. When anger emerges, realize its illusoriness. When impulses strike, maintain mindfulness and don't be swayed. Conclusion: returning to clarity. Everyone, wrong views are the root of our entrapment in samsara. Let us let go of attachment to the five desires and dispel the fog of wrong views. Be a clear-minded person, living with the inherent light and wisdom within. Thank you all. See you next time.